So the fourth way our modern education system is misusing time is that we have to rework things. This is just so frustrating. Anytime you have to redo work, it's frustrating. I remember one of my West Point classmates was breaking the late nights one night because he had a big paper to do. He fell asleep, head hit the keyboard, and he had looked like millions of commas on his screen. He ended up losing his paper. Anytime you have to rework things, it's really frustrating. I'll give you a different type of example. It's easier to relate to, especially when talking with kids, and that is physical health. It's much more difficult to restore physical health. I had a medical scare a few years ago that really set me back. I thought I was healthy until I had these symptoms starting, and eventually we figured out it was a thyroid. So I lost a ton of weight. I basically lost a month of my life. I lost a ton of weight, and it took me almost a year with looking at my diet and going to the gym, almost a year to regain what I had lost in just a few weeks. So trying to rework things is so frustrating, and the principle is pretty simple. If you want good results, it's easier to keep something going. The consistent work is going to produce those results. No shortcuts, no cure-all pills. Whether you're training for a marathon, you're learning to play an instrument, you need time and you need focus. So if you're going to invest a sustained energy over a long period of time, you need a system that helps support that. You need the proof of work is easy. If you see someone who's an Olympic athlete, they probably put in the time to do that. That's their admission that they had to do. A high-level entertainer, same thing. They had to put in the time to get to that level. And then once you see it, you go, yep, that person's at a peak level, and you know that they had to do that. So let's go back to education. Our goal is to prepare our kids to be successful. You want to maintain the momentum they're building as they build up these skills. You wouldn't want to start and stop progress. So for example, you don't train an Olympic athlete by stopping and taking large periods of time off and then having to come back and rework those and get back up to where you were. But that's exactly what we do. So if you think about it, the US education system was centralized early in the 20th century, and our economy was predominantly agricultural. So school calendars are designed to follow this agricultural timeline. So you start in August or September, you end in May or June. So take out the holidays, the weekends, teacher work days. The school year, quote unquote, the school year is 180 days. So we accept as society that it is normal, it is healthy in our education system to only be active half of the year. So the impact of this is just devastating. There's so much more that is lost during that summer break especially. So you end up having schools, teachers, administrators, whoever, they're going to have to go back and work with students additional time just to rework the material that they left off the prior year. So because of that. So that's further taking away from their ability to do time. They are reworking that. So when you take a break in a subject like math, it's like taking a break from your gym routine. You're going to be set back, and you're going to have to rebuild and get current again. You don't just come in and resume where you were when you left in May or June. So even a large portion of those 180 days that you are working, you're just reviewing prior material. So contrast this with the typical homeschooling type of schedule. Homeschool goes year-round. You're removing all that lost time in the summer, and all of that rework, in particular that rework, can really compound over time in terms of setting you back. So we can't really measure learning per month precisely, but I built a little visual to show this. And in my visualization, to oversimplify this, imagine you have two students, identical learning capacities, identical teaching programs. They're identical. In the student on the top line, the student one is learning year-round, and she is the academic version of that full-time athlete that we've mentioned. The other one, student two, is the bottom line there, and they have the same exact learning mental capacity. Okay, maybe it's a twin. But she's going to regress during that 3 months. She's going to get soft and not remember everything, and so when she comes back, then you got to restart to regain. So not surprisingly, the student number two is going to lag student number one by the year end. So what's going to happen is, if you look at that annual gap, learning, it's even worse than this because learning is not linear. So if you, if you build a skill or a concept, the potential is it opens up more, it accelerates your ability to have greater understanding. So you learn the alphabet, for example, you open the door to reading, which opens the door to learning other subjects. If you learn math, it opens the door for science and other things. So this is productive learning is sort of like dollar cost averaging, where you're just trying to invest this knowledge and experience constantly over time, and every small contribution is building on the previous, making these bigger and bigger contributions or bigger achievements possible. So over a standard K through 12 program, the net impact of that summer break is going to compound. The negative impact is going to compound. So nothing stops us in the U.S. from adopting a sound education calendar except ourselves. The bureaucratic, political, commercial, other non-student stakeholders, we are entrenched. We have a lot of momentum, and this would be a monumental task to do. So no one, regardless of their good intentions, can fix that system from inside of it. The only path is for parents to take self-custody of their their children's education. So even if you can't homeschool, you can still do work in the summer, for example, and a lot of parents do that. There are summer camps and math camps and all kinds of other programs that parents will employ because of this. But our system, the only thing that stops us is ourselves. This giant behemoth we have with so much momentum, it's very hard to change. Having homeschooled our 4 kids over 2 decades, I can confirm I can confirm for you the endeavor is a 24/7, 365 type of endeavor. It is going to include weekends. This is not a bug. Use some coding references there. This is not a bug. This is a feature.